This one is week 7, and we're going to go over 6 through 10. And so it's all about finding independent, dependent, etc. variables. So this one says, number 6, which of the following was altered? What does altered mean?
Changed.
Yep. Changed by the engineers when conducting experiment 2. So that's where I'm going to look for this one. So if altered means change, what does that mean I'm looking for? Independent or dependent variable?
Independent.
Independent variable. And then I'm going to go to experiment 2. So here, I'm going to read the blurb for experiment 2. I'm looking for the independent variable. So, steel wall, the DOP was measured. The procedure was then repeated with ceramic armor plates of different compositions and thicknesses. So that's what I'm looking for. And then it also shows you the key. So this 4 key, that's 4 different lines. Those are 4 different compounds, so that's a different material. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to match to here. So see what we have in our key terms. So ceramic material is a key term. Launch velocity is not. Coverage area, so we never talk about the area. And then we do talk about thickness. So that means we...
The coverage area, the dependent?
No, the dependent variable is the DOP. That's on the y-axis. So right here, we can cross off B and C because they never mention area. But it does mention ceramic material and it does mention thickness. So here, the reason that it's not D is this says thickness of the steel wall, but that's not what we change. We change the ceramic material, which you can see by the 4 different lines in the key, and we change the thickness of the ceramic though. So not of the steel wall, so you can cross off steel, it doesn't match, that's why. That's why the answer is A. Alright, for number 7. In experiment 1, which of the following factors did engineers alter? Alter again means what?
Change.
Okay, so are we looking for the independent or the dependent?
Independent.
Yep, independent variable in what study?
Experiment 1.
Experiment 1. So I'm going to flip back in experiment 1, and then I can just look on the graph here. What axis is independent, X or Y?
Area density?
We're looking at experiment 1, but which axis is independent variable? Is that the x-axis or the y-axis?
Yeah, X.
X-axis. So x equals launch velocity equals IV, y equals DOP equals dependent variable. So, which one of these is our independent variable? Launch velocity. So that is just the x-axis on the graph. Alright. Which of the following factors was not directly controlled? Now, not directly controlled, is that going to be your independent variable or your dependent variable?
Dependent.
Dependent variable. In study 2. So I'm going to go to study 2 right here, and we want to look, here's the study 2 graph. Now we need to find the dependent variable for question number 8. Is that going to be on the x-axis or the y-axis?
Y-axis.
Yep. And so what is the dependent variable? Frequency in population. So that is just the y-axis on the graph. Alright, according to the results of study 2, so I'm looking again at that graph, I'm looking at figure 1. Which of the following values changed as the E. coli strains reproduced? So, on this graph, if we look at our labels, excuse me, just burped, gross. We have frequency, I should have Diet Coke, and we have generation. So these are our 2 things. So, does it say on our graph, does it say temperature of the agar plate? Nope, not on the graph. Does it say composition?
Not really.
Nope, not on the graph. So between C and D, which one is on the graph?
I see the frequency and population, so that'd be D.
Frequency in the population is on our graph, so the answer is D. So for that one, you just match to the axes on the graph. Alright, according to the passage, why were E. coli bacteria ideal for this experiment? So, do you see right here how it says according to the passage? So every time you start an ACT, there will be a little blurb before it gets into the question. That is what they mean by passage. So if it says study 1 and study 2, they would say according to study 1. But because they say according to study 2, they want you to look here. And now this is like, why were they ideal? In this passage, it will tell you the purpose of the experiment and like a fact about the materials. And so this question, is this asking us a fact about the materials or a purpose?
Purpose, I think. Or
Why were E. coli ideal? That's a fact. So purpose, it would say, why did they conduct this experiment? So if we read this first sentence here, it says, E. coli bacteria have the ability to rapidly alter their genetic makeup. So that's why they used it. So now if we look at here, reproduce quickly, reproduce slowly. It doesn't say those words, but it says E. coli bacteria are able to rapidly alter their genetic makeup. So that is almost the same. So you just match to sentence 1. Any questions on that one? That's it.
so when it says, so when it says like passage, you just have to find like the beginning.
The blurb, yeah.
Okay.
So like if it says, so for here, like on the first page, if you saw a question here that said according to study 1, you would start looking here.
Here, okay.
But if you saw something that said according to the passage, you would read here, that blurb at the beginning.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.